Welcome, dear adventurer, to the Loremaster's Guide. This is a new series dedicated to laying bare for all to see the stories that shaped the world of Warcraft. Here will Azeroth's dirty laundry be sorted and sifted through for secrets, and here you might learn a thing or two about someone or somewhere you thought you knew. To begin with, we will focus our exploration on perhaps the most criminally overlooked areas of the game, at least from the perspective of lore storytelling and role-playing immersion, the dungeons. Everything from the hideouts of villains and scoundrels to the lairs of unspeakable horrors, dungeons run the entire gauntlet of Warcraft's experience, guiding us from humble beginnings as rookie adventurers and putting us up to ever greater challenges. With those greater challenges come great rewards, of course, but only for those who survive and emerge victorious into the daylight once more. The first of Warcraft's dungeons comes from the most unlikely of places. Deep under the Cleft of Shadow in Orgrimmar lie the volcanic caverns of Ragefire Chasm. It is home to Troggs uncountable, malcontent and unwelcoming, but worse still are the lava elementals and servants of the nefarious Searing Blade. They're a sect of the Shadow Council, a group of warlocks who plot and scheme with demons and other servants of the Burning Legion. The cult was first formed by Gul'dan in Draenor, even before the Orcs invaded Azeroth during the First War, but here they endure even to this day, undermining the Horde and orchestrating its collapse like a tumor in the heart of a great beast. It might occur to the canny listener that despite our mission in Ragefire being to eradicate its infestation of warlocks and demons, we actually receive many of our orders here from sanctioned Horde warlocks. Indeed, the warlocks within the Cleft of Shadows are many in number and great in power, assets to the Warchief as they pledge to study the darker sides of the magical arts to harness their power against the Burning Legion. They rise above the temptation of their shadow magics, mastering the manipulation of the most manipulative of forces. Niru Fireblade, who stands just outside the entrance to Ragefire Chasm, masquerades as yet another loyal warlock in service of the Horde, and is one of the most prominent Orcish warlocks in Orgrimmar. However, in reality, he is the leader of the Burning Blade cult, a sister branch of the Shadow Council. He is the one who concocted the ruse to install Taragaman the Hungerer as the apparent leader of the Searing Blade. His plan is twofold: to lead inexperienced members of Thrall's Horde to untimely deaths by the blade of Taragaman, and to test the might of the Searing Blade cult, to judge their worth for joining under his authority. And here it should be noted so as to avoid confusion, the Burning Blade is the larger cult sect outside of Orgrimmar. The Searing Blade is the cult sect within Ragefire Chasm itself, though both are as vile and devious as each other, and both are branches of the Shadow Council's sickly tree. Long ago, the Shadow Council herded the scattered Orcish clans together to form the first iteration of the Horde. It was they who beguiled the Orcs to drink of the blood of Manaroth. It was they who betrayed their own people for the promise of power. It was they that brought war and suffering through the dark portal to Azeroth. This demonic blood gave the Orcs great strength and bloodlust, but at a terrible cost. It shackled them into little more than wretched slaves of the Burning Legion. Their brown skin turned green with the corruption, but worse still, their hearts turned twisted and blackened from their unquenchable rage. What once was a shamanistic people, in tune with their land and ancestors, became a crazed and murderous horde of monsters, their noble past forgotten in the haze of their addled minds. The Orcs were indeed a savage army under the demon's control. In a mere 40 years, they drove the Draenei into near extinction and nearly destroyed their homeworld of Draenor. Still not enough, they then set their sights through the Dark Portal to conquer Azeroth. During the Third War, Grommash Hellscream, chieftain of the Warsong clan, eventually freed the Orcish race by destroying the jailer of their souls, the Pit Lord Manaroth, whose blood had seared their tainted veins like acid. This heroic act is forever memorialized within the Valley of Wisdom in front of Thrall's chambers, serving as a reminder to the children of the Horde to never forget the sacrifices made to free them from their dark past. Hung upon a gargantuan tree is the demon-charred skull and armor of Manaroth himself, displayed as a trophy of Grom's momentous victory. Though the path is perilous, an awe-inspiring sight awaits those who would make the pilgrimage to the site of the battle itself in Demonfall Canyon. The broken twin-bladed glaive of Manaroth, cleaved in two by a blow from Grom's legendary axe Gorehowl. Dark energies suspend the broken blade in mid-air, as if calling out to its dark, fallen master to grasp it again. These relics serve as a warning to all of the dangers of consorting with the denizens of hell. Understandably, Thrall, the Warchief of the Horde, is wary of the Shadow Council and the unforgivable role they played in his people's history. He considers them heinous traitors to the Orcish race and to all that is good. It's been 4 years since the founding of Orgrimmar, yet Thrall knew of their presence here long ago. Why has Thrall waited so long with this cult so close, on his doorstep no less? Why not destroy the cult right away? Because Thrall is wise beyond his years, wiser than most will ever know. You don't crush the scouting ant when you know that the nest is somewhere nearby, so Thrall watched and waited, patient as the earth with which he communes, seeing if any clues from this sect would lead him to the elusive Shadow Council leaders, the heads of this dire hydra. Alas, Thrall has waited, but his vigilance has borne little fruit. Should an adventurer poke their nose in the right places, they may find out Neru Fireblade's true identity as leader of the Burning Blade and divulge his traitorous allegiances to the Warchief. Thrall is pleased, but given this new lead, he chooses cautious observation over exposing him directly. He may yet have his uses, and could likely lead us to uncover more of the Legion's agents. The searing blade within Ragefire Chasm, however, has not given us any useful information, and it has become far too dangerous to let fester here any longer, and that is why we are here now, to root out this rot at the root of the Horde. The Shadow Council may have brought the first Horde into life, but this new Horde will see them burnt to the ground. When first you descend into the smoke-filled tunnels, you'll be met by the original denizens thereof. The Troggs who first called this place home have been displaced by their new demonic neighbours, and now live in abject fear, scurrying away from the depths of the chasm, and now almost pushed back into the cleft of shadow itself. Thrall could not tolerate such an intrusion into his capital, so his chosen heroes must first perform some subterranean pest control. The leader, for want of a more fitting term, of these Troggs is known as Ogleflint. He and his henchmen are as violent as they are uncivilized, but they were too weak to resist the dark powers of the cultists, so they retreated back here. Indeed, they are not happy with this arrangement, and will not hesitate to lash out at any who dare threaten what little domain they have left for themselves. However, do not let their small stature lull you into a false confidence, for at his feet lies the body of Maur Grimtotem, once a hearty and strong young Tauren who found something of interest here in the cavern. Yet he was no match for the sheer number of Troggs that beset him upon discovering Maur's attempt to steal from the cavern. Ogleflint and the Troggs vented their frustrations at their hopeless situation and beat him to death with a merciless glee. For all their faults, the Troggs don't have much interest in material wealth, and so left his belongings alone. Mysteries abound as to what he found, as we never look inside the satchel he carries. But was it worth his life? Rahauro, servant to Magatha Grimtotem, will know for sure, but the Grimtotems are as likely to share their secrets with outsiders as Ogleflint is to become the next warchief of the Horde. I suppose some things will remain a mystery, but I can't help but suspect Maur found something dark and powerful in these cursed caverns that old Magatha ought never to get her hands on. Deeper into the depths of Ragefire Chasm, the true challenges await. The air is thicker here, the taste of metal hangs in the air like so much toxic vapor, and with every step deeper into the tunnels, the temperature ebbs ever higher. Bring water aplenty and drink often. This scorching heat can overwhelm an inexperienced adventurer, and these cultists seem to draw even more power from the sweltering heat. Posing as the leader of the Searing Blade stands Taragaman the Hungerer, a towering Moarg, better known as a Felguard. He wields a wicked demon blade that would dwarf all the warriors of the Horde, but this battle-scarred giant of knotted muscle does have an important weakness. His head is almost comically shriveled, as are the contents within, so a canny company of heroes would do best to exploit this lack of wit, whilst staying well clear of his greatsword. He acts as a deterrent to kill inexperienced adventurers, and deception to fool the Horde's leaders. The real puppet masters are yet further within the cavern, because, dear hero, of course they are. Jurgosh the Invoker hides behind yet more of his fanatical underlings, and is the true leader of this dark Orcish cabal. He rejects the ideals of pride and honor which the Horde now holds so dear. He is, in all ways it appears, a living remnant of the orcs of yesteryear. His scheming, his ruthlessness, and his trafficking with demons is as a window into the past of the Horde that first stepped foot on Azeroth. Dispatch with him quickly and without remorse. The world will not weep for the loss of that which should have died with the rest of its kin long, long ago. Despite the unquestioning loyalty he demands from his acolytes, Jergosh in fact co-leads the Searing Blade along with the satyr, Bazalan. Satyrs are among the most treacherous of the Burning Legion's agents. Demons made through the willing corruption of a mortal, most often a night elf. They are devious beyond measure and live to subvert the pure and innocent into vile, putrid, and tainted perversions, much as they themselves were twisted by their greed at the Legion's promises of power. Bazalan leads the demonic contingent of the Searing Blade in an attempt to corrupt Orgrimmar from within, and to set in motion events that would bring about the return of the Burning Legion to Azeroth once more. In this dungeon's final encounter, do not expect a fair fight. Satyrs are gifted with unholy strength and magical ability, plenty enough to keep your party on the back foot, but their greatest strength often lies in their ability to manipulate their prey. Heed not a word he says, and treat each utterance like a foul black tar. Block out his words lest they cling to you and weigh down your spirits with dread. He is a hateful creature born and made of malice. With his death, Ragefire Chasm can at last be purified of corruption, and the shamans of Orgrimmar can begin to soothe the fire and earth elementals that have grown so distressed and desperate. Good luck, brave adventurers. I hope, armed with this new knowledge, that you might emerge victorious from the chasm, with the Searing Blade extinguished and your satchels brimming with treasures. But this is just the first of many trials yet ahead. I do hope you'll join with me again to delve deep into the shadowy dark of Azeroth's dungeons once more. But before you go, please do take a look at my friend Minoru's Dungeon Lore Companion, linked in the description below. It served as the basis for this video's script, and is formatted into 255 character chunks, the chat limit in the World of Warcraft client. With it, you can bring more flavour to your dungeon runs, and lead your party through them like an Azerothian safari guide. Links to that, as well as to my Discord, Patreon and Twitch channel, are in the description below. Many thanks to all my supporters, you really are what keep this channel alive. Some of the clips in this video are also taken from Minoru's extensive catalogue of live wallpapers. If these are of interest to any of you, you can find links to these in the description too. Safe travels everyone, I'll see you again in the next one.